So the Bucks faced the Nets the other day. They actually faced them, I think, twice in the last week, and the Bucks beat them twice. They're 2-1 against the Nets this season. And to be fair, Harden hasn't played in 2 of those games. And the first one that the Nets did beat the Bucks in, Kyrie did not play either. So the Bucks have not faced a healthy Nets team yet. But I know, Riv, you've believed this entire year that the Bucks match up very well with the Nets. Yeah. You think they can beat them in the series if it – you never said that?
I've never said that. You can ask him right here. I've never said that.
You never said that, but you said that they match up well.
Yes, that's what I said.
You know, and I honestly believe that this could be a 6-7 game series because of the Nets injuries and the chemistry. I think the chemistry will probably be fine, but obviously the Bucks have, you know, had way more time to mesh. But when they have played, I love the games. I mean, it's a playoff atmosphere. It feels like they're taking it seriously.
Every game
and
close.
Just to praise the Bucks a little bit, I think this team has a different feel to it. You know, Eric Bledsoe was such a liability for them in the last couple of years because he's super inconsistent. But Drew Holiday is just such a better player than him all around. Defensively, he's better. As a shooter, he's better. Ball handler, he's better. Like, Drew Holiday is better all around. And I love the addition of P.J. Tucker. Like, P.J. Tucker
cooked.
P.J. Tucker is the Kevin Durant stopper.
What?
That's got to stop.
You know, maybe he's not going to hold Durant. No,
he's there
under a certain amount of points.
He's there every possession.
But Tucker, if there's one guy I want guarding Durant,
it's P.J. Tucker.
Not named Kawhi, it's P.J. Tucker. I wouldn't want anybody else guarding.
I would name a few more
Durant.
guys.
Durant's even said, they asked him on Twitter, who's the best one-on-one defender that you ever faced? And he said P.J. Tucker's hacking ass. So, you know, Tucker is that KD stopper. They both went to college together. So, I mean, this team all around has a different feel to it. Obviously,
they went to college together?
Yeah, they did.
For real?
He played with LaMarcus Aldridge, yeah.
PJ was there?
Yeah, PJ was on that team.
Wow, he sucks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. He was not playing.
So, Giannis is having an MVP-like year, and they have good shooters. Bobby Portis, Brent Forbes, like, this team has a different feel to it, but I think some teams get trapped in this like kind of space where they're good, but there are just teams that are better. Like the Nets are a super team. It's going to be hard to beat them. So I don't know if they can make it to the finals this year and beat the Nets, but any other year they would be one of my top 2 picks.
Like you said, both, you know, all 3 games, playoff atmosphere, great games. You know, they gave us, I feel like every game, both teams took it serious, brought their A games. KD and Giannis put on the show last 2 games. I think when Harden gets back, obviously it's going to be some adjustments. But from looking at the games, it seems like Mike Budenholzer is out-coaching Steve Nash, in my opinion. I think he's beating him with the X's and O's, the defensive matchups. I think he's beating him with his system. And like you said, Giannis is starting to take them shots, and that's what we've been wanting him to do. You know, the mid-range, the little pop-out shoot, he's taking the 3. And, you know, with Brooklyn, they have a super team. Top-heavy talent is better than the Bucks. I think the Bucks are a little deeper, but I think top-heavy, you know, Brooklyn has it. But with the matchups, like I kept saying, you know, Drew Holiday is on Kyrie. Harden's probably going to be the kicker because I don't know if they're going to put Middleton on him or something, Tucker on KD, or you could put Giannis on KD, and then you just have Middleton on Harden. But they have the matchup so they can go small, big, whatever. It doesn't matter. And when you look at like Steve Nash, like Brooklyn doesn't have a Miami Heat team, a Toronto team where they can build a wall and stop Giannis. I don't think they have that personnel. I think they're just going to have to listen, we're going to just have to outscore them every game. And I think the Bucks know that they can't stop the Nets. I think they're realizing they're going to have to score too. And you saw it the last 2 games. You know, granted, Harden wasn't there, but on the other side, I don't think Harden's going to stop them defensively. So you can kind of talk about the Bucks on offense. I think they showed it. Chris Middleton stepped his game up. Drew Holiday stepped his game up. Giannis, you know, he stepped his game up. Dante DiVincenzo, he played good. P.J. Tucker, you know, he was in there for defense. He made KD work for, you know, granted KD's KD, but he made KD work for every bucket. He was there at every possession. Brook Lopez was playing a big role when he got his minutes. So it's, you know, it's the little things. And I think the Bucks, like I've been saying, they have the best personnel in the East, one of the best in the league to really match up well with the Nets. With the Nets, the only thing that's going to hurt them, I think, is the chemistry problems and injuries. I think they have everything they need to win the championship. They have everything they need to beat the Bucks. The Bucks are going to walk in as underdogs, so they really have nothing to lose. And the chip is on the Nets' shoulder. They have to win that series. But I think all in all, they gave us a great 3 games. First game, KD shut it down. Next 2 games, Giannis put on the show, and I like what we're going to see. I think it's going to be a 7-game series.
Well, you guys both know that I'm a diehard Nets fan.
That's sad.
And okay, that's, but what I saw from those 2 games were actually very key. I saw KD and Kyrie were able to take the same amount of shots that they always take, but be efficient with it. Kyrie was a little off his first game. Second game, he bounced back tremendously. KD was kind of a little bit off in the second game. But when you look at what they were doing, the first game was decided by 3 points. KD had a chance to tie it, didn't make it, game over. Second game, I was watching it clearly that the Nets were up. They were up 6 or 7 points at one point, and then the Bucks just go on an 18-1 run. Dang. An 18-1 run. And throughout that run, now one timeout was called. There was no change in zone or man. Steve Nash just basically said in the postgame interview, I wanted to let them play and figure it out on their own. He called it problem solving. The playoffs is not time for problem solving. And I believe who's going to take charge in that will probably be James Harden. I believe James Harden's going to, figure it out on the floor without having to use those timeouts where to put the players. And KD and Kyrie are going to have to just rely on each other just to get the open shots. They have one of the best 3-point shooters in Joe Harris. And just to piggyback off what Joel said, the Bucks can shoot the 3 like any other team in the league. They just have shooters everywhere. Pat Connaughton, DiVincenzo can shoot the 3. Lopez can shoot the 3. Giannis is getting better.
Drew can shoot that shit too.
Drew can shoot it. I mean, Chris had a weird year this year. He's just I defend Chris Middleton to the death, but it's just he's had games where he just goes non-existent.
That's been the playoffs for him too.
Yeah, and he can't afford that this year. This year he just can't do it. If you're going to be the number 2 on that team, you can't do it. But I believe Brooklyn wins the series. I believe that the Bucks might even jump out to a 2-1 lead or something of the sort and kind of shake up that Nets team and be like, okay, this is the playoffs. We can't be doing this no more.
What Steve Nash is doing is so Steve Kerr-like. Like, you can just see it in why he was there. Like, he's let them problems because he has the team. So he's just like, he doesn't really have to coach. Like, leaving DeAndre Jordan on an island first game was ridiculous. Like, just letting him be out there by himself, no help. Like, you can switch. I fully believe you can switch KD on Giannis, and you can get a better result than what DeAndre Jordan was doing.
They tried Blake Griffin game 2. Same result.
That's what. Like, it was just like DeAndre's just standing there, letting him get. Like, you don't. As a defender, I get somebody can't shoot, but you don't let them get to their spot because then you're just making it easy for them. You at least make it hard for him. Like, you're just letting him get to his spot in the paint, and then let him take that little whatever he wants to call that, the little mid-range float or whatever, and it's just gonna be easy for him. So it's like. It's just little things like that they have to work out.
And I think the greatest part about what the Nets did is they showed you their game plan in a sense against them. They showed you part of their game plan is going to be letting Giannis shoot. If Giannis wants to take that pull-up 3 or that open 3, they're going to let him shoot. DeAndre Jordan was turning his back on him.
Yep.
And another thing for that last game, that third game, like KD said in the post-game interview, they shot 14 more shots than them. The Nets missed 10 free throws. They were on fire from 3, but that's about it. So if you take into account most of the things that went wrong and went terribly wrong for the Brooklyn Nets, they could have 3-0'd the Bucks in this regular season series. So it's going to be a very interesting series, but we'll see how it plays out.
Out of all the important players on the Bucks, Brook Lopez actually shoots the worst percentage from 3 at like 35%. Yeah. So
wait, are we counting Giannis?
I wasn't counting Giannis because, he's the guy who's going to really create.
But you said most important, my fault.
That's like counting Ben
Giannis shoots 31% from the 3.
He's getting better.
Yeah, so he's getting better, but, still pretty bad. But, Giannis, what I love about him is that he's taking the 3s, though. Like, he's taking those shots. Like, if you're going to dare him to shoot it, he's going to take it. There'll be some games he goes 2 for 8. There'll be some games he goes 4 for 8, though.
Just keep taking them.
He does sometimes, go on a little stretch, and, I think James Harden is that missing piece. Obviously, he's the best player on Brooklyn right now. There's no doubt about it. And, people love to think it's Kevin Durant, but you look at the record with James Harden and without James Harden. Obviously, the win-loss column shows that Harden is the most important player on that team, and he's the best player. Look, all respect to Kevin Durant. He's an all-world scorer. But James Harden just makes that team go. James Harden could be the first-seeded Suns team without Kyrie and without KD. I don't think KD can do the same without Harden or KD. So
he is their floor general. I'll give you
Harden is going to be that guy. And my prediction, obviously, I have the Nets winning the championship. I've had them winning the championship since they traded for Harden, and I think against the Bucks is going to be tough because they can go small. I mean, their small lineup looks really scary. I mean, Drew Holiday, elite defender. Chris Middleton, he's a good to great defender on some nights. He's manageable. And then Giannis, we know he's an elite defender. Then Tucker, probably the best in the league. And then we look at Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez can block some shots, so their small ball lineup looks very scary. And even if they want to put Tucker at center or Giannis at center and maybe even put Brent Forbes in the game, I mean, they can really go small.
He can shoot that ball,
and because
he will shoot.
And that's why Tucker was such a important piece to get at the trade deadline. A lot of teams wanted him. The Heat, the Bucks, the Sixers. I thought the Nets should have got him because that would have been really good for them. But I think Tucker really makes them versatile in terms of what lineups they can play with. And Tucker has proven he can guard KD. He can at least make it tough on him. And when you put Drew on Kyrie, Drew, that was nice where he made him non-existent. I'm saying, and I know Kyrie's going through Ramadan right now.
They're gonna have those two are gonna have a very, very, very interesting series. They're gonna go back and forth.
It's just we're gonna have to see what happens. But all around, I still do have confidence in the Nets. But I think this series will easily go to 6 games, if not 7. Like I think it really will be a hell of a series.
Yeah, it sucks that we didn't get to see the Nets. First time it was just KD and Harden. They went crazy. Second time and third time it was KD and Kyrie. I wish we would have got to see a preview of it with all 3 guys. But, come playoff time, those 3 versus Giannis and his boys, it's going to be very interesting. I think we're on the collision course to see those 2 guys in the ECF. Hopefully, I don't want anybody else to spoil it. I hope we see it.
They'll be the semis.
Yeah. It's what?
Yeah.
Oh, they're third.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Whatever.
Philly's locked up in the number 1
Philly.
seed.
But I'm glad we get to see this matchup anyways. I think it's going to go 6 at least, 7 games definitely. Either way, it's going to be interesting. Giannis and his boys. It's really going to come down to Steve Nash, too. What is he going to do in the playoffs? His coaching scheme. How is he going to adjust? That whole problem solving, that was stupid. I'm not even going to acknowledge that. That was just ridiculous. But he's going to have to figure out his X's and his O's. And he has KD. He has Harden. He has the guys. So he's going to have to really show that he can coach. It's not just about the players. Coaches help win championships, too. So he's going to have to put himself in that position.